welcome back to Let's Talk PMA. I'm Allie,
I'm Jessica.
and today we have a very special guest. His name is Quinton Parnell. This is my brother. Quinton, would you like to introduce yourself and give us a little bit about you?
My name's Quinton, and I am a PGA golf professional. I'm the head coach for Columbia Basin College, and I'm one of the instructors for the Golf Academy of Washington.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Give us a little bit about yourself. What is some of your experiences? Obviously you played golf for a very long time.
I started playing golf when I was 4. I played as an amateur. I played high school golf. I competed collegiately. Now I'm playing professionally as well as coaching players. So developing our team here at CBC and trying to get some players, learning the recruiting side of that. And then just do a ton of teaching between young juniors and developing them all the way up into making D1 athletes and working with some professional players as well. So a little bit of everything.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to have you here. You have a lot of experience, and we'd like to have your input and see your aspect of everything. So
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of fun, especially today when we're talking about self-check and what that means for your positive mental attitude. And you've had such a wide variety of students from the little ones all the way to college and even adult athletes. And, self-check with your positive mental attitude just means really checking in with yourself. And, when you get down or when you have your outside influences come into play, when you're doing any kind of sport or any kind of goals with your sport or working out or whatever it is, we have to check in and see where are we at. What am I feeling right now? What are my outside influences? How is that taking effect in what I'm doing? And so, as coaches, both you and Allie, you have a lot of, especially with the kids, because they tend to take on more emotion and aren't equipped as much as maybe an adult would be to not know how to deal with those emotions. And so, when you have your athletes that come in and they're like, hey, I had a bad day at golf, or I'm not hitting it well, how do you go about working with them and trying to get them back on track?
I think the big difference is golf is an individual sport, so it's a lot about diving deep into yourself. And so the first thing I always try to get people to do is slow down. Everybody starts, the mind's racing, the thoughts get negative, and then they just go down this path and they don't stop. So the first thing I always try to do is just take a breath. I mean, my players, I think I've said more times than anything else, is just take a breath. Let's refocus and let's change the direction that we're going, and just stop the mind from racing and falling down that rabbit hole of thoughts, and then be able to pull yourself back out, take a minute, and then let's refocus on what we're trying to do. The more that you fall down and let your mind tell yourself stories, and the big thing is you tell yourself stories, how poorly of a player that you are, or how bad it is, or I can't do this, or just the stories and the things that you convince yourself internally, those get out of hand. So being able to pull yourself out, realizing that that's what you're going and what you're doing, and then just trying to reset and remember what we're trying to do. And a lot of times it's just getting back to the very, very simple things. On the golf course, when my players are playing poorly and have a poor stretch, it's all right, let's let it go. Let's refocus. Let's get out of the rabbit hole of what we're thinking. And we just start with one good shot. Can we just hit one shot? Yeah. Not even, it doesn't even have to be the best shot you hit today. Let's just hit one shot and play. And then we build upon that. And then we rebuild the confidence slowly through the rounds is the goal. It doesn't come quickly.
Yeah.
Rebuilding.
Do you ever find that they're like, I don't know how to get past this thought?
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you refocus them into a positive thought from that negative thought that's just totally, controlling them?
From a coach's side of it, it's I just remind them of the positive things that they've done. So from a coach's side, I usually refer to, remember how well we played yesterday. Remember how well of a shot you hit here. Remember just reminding them of how good they are and rebuilding the confidence. Because I think positive, being positive towards yourself always comes down to confidence. When you lose your confidence, then you lose your positive self-talk. So as long as you can maintain that kind of confidence and you can slowly bring it back, then I think it's much easier to do it. So it's about reminding them that they are good players. I think from a coach's side, one thing I've learned probably more than anything is telling your players how good they are and just reminding them how good.
Yeah.
That has been one of the most impactful things in bad places, is just saying, hey, do you remember how good you are? And do you remember that everybody else you're playing with, I truly don't believe is as talented as you can be. And so just
Yeah.
letting them know that a lot of times is enough to just break them out of it. And it's per person. And so as a coach, your job has got to be to really learn your player and learn what makes them tick, and pay attention to how they react and how to get them out of it. When you find your success, you got to build upon it and just remind yourself, hey, that's how we can get them out of it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like what we went over a couple weeks ago with challenge, right? And challenges, we have to be able to see them as the opportunities, not as threats. I have a girl, I just talked to her about this the other day, and she, we're running a Sweet 16, and those are a challenge in itself, right? So we're running it multiple times, but she starts panicking as she's running. She's like, you know, behind everybody. Obviously, it's very hard. She's not in the greatest shape, but it's like she panics, and so it makes everything worse, right? She can't breathe as well, and you just slow down, and your mind just creates those stories, just like you were saying, and it just makes you feel worse and worse and worse. And it's like, you have to take these things like, yeah, they're going to be hard. Yeah, you might be going through something that's not easy, but you have to be able to see them as that opportunity. Okay, this is an opportunity for me to get better. This isn't something that's putting me down. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Yeah, I hate doing it, but it's always going to make me better.
Right. Yep. It's always those check-ins, and as coaches, it's a little bit easier to say, I see this is what you're doing. But as the athletes themselves or the coaches themselves, whoever it is, you have to be able to internally recognize that, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing to myself. You have to think about, okay, this is what my thoughts are creating right here and right now. I don't want to feel this way. How do I get myself from this step to this step? And so it's really taking that second to recognize what your thoughts are creating for you and for your game. So, and I think that's, really important for everyone, is just to really think those thoughts are creating whatever's going on, my feelings, my actions, everything. So if I feel a certain way, I'm going to get this result because this is how I'm thinking. What result do I really want?
Yeah.
So if I want to improve my feelings about how I'm playing or my game, I have to change that thought.
Yeah. And as a coach, obviously, it's our job to recognize that and to bring it to the forefront of all of the athletes, right? So they can see it. But Quinton, as also an athlete, when you are in that headspace where you're just feeling stuck, and how do you get yourself out of it? Even if, like, especially with golf, you don't always have your coach right there. How do you pull yourself out of it?
I mean, it took years to learn how to do that. And so I think the biggest thing as an athlete is you just got to know that every time you play and every time that you perform, and whether you perform good or bad, is just internal learning about yourself. It truly took me years to learn how to pull myself out of it, how to reset in the middle of a round. As somebody who trends towards being a perfectionist in what I do, I get very angry with myself, and learning how to get angry and then use that as a tool to refocus. And it took me years to do it, but the more that you learn about yourself, the more that you're willing to think about the thoughts that you had when you are going through it, right? Or when you hit a poor shot, what were you thinking about before it? In golf, it's the thing that we fight more than anything is playing scared, being scared of the bad shot, being scared of the trouble, whether it's the water or the out of bounds or the tight fairway that you're scared of. And just understanding that if you swing scared or you play scared, you're going to make mistakes regardless. So to learn how to play confidently, be okay with hitting a bad shot, as long as you play with confidence and everything you did was 100% commitment, then that is a much better mistake than playing scared and then making a mistake anyways, or playing scared and getting away with it, because that doesn't build any confidence. You were scared, you got away with it, now you're going to hit the same shot scared. and now you're going to start falling into this trap of I can get away with it if I play scared. But the more that you play free and confident, the better off you are. But there's no one answer. It's just learning a lot about yourself, how you react, and how you can learn to pull yourself out of it. And it could be something different. I mean, for golf, per hole, try something different to pull yourself out of it until you find some kind of success.
That's a good point for
Yeah.
displaying that confidence. I know when I used to play, if I missed a free throw or if I missed a shot 2 or 3 times in a row, man, my confidence went down quickly. But if I didn't let that shot or that mistake that I thought was a mistake get to me, and I just kept saying, I'm going to get it next time, or I'm not following through, or I'm not doing whatever it is, and I just kept going, and then they start falling again, and then that confidence would build. So yeah, the same thing. As soon as you lose your confidence in anything, it affects everything.
Yeah, I really like what you said about noticing that you're playing scared. And I think honestly that can go with any sport, because a lot of the time once you start playing scared, it's because you're worried about the mistakes, worried about getting pulled out, like, if you're playing a team sport, getting pulled out because you made a mistake. So then that makes you play scared, and that doesn't make you play any better. So I think honestly, if you can realize you're playing timid, you're playing scared, that's like the first thing that you should notice, to be able to be like, okay, let me recheck. Let me do a little self-check here. Why am I playing scared? Okay, I don't need to be playing scared right now. If I play my hardest and I play confidently, then I will succeed more if I keep playing scared.
Exactly. Yep. I think all those are great points, and I think just being able to come up with those self-check questions that that you could have on hand and just have in your mind right away. Why am I playing scared? What's going on in my brain right now? What are the outside influences that are playing effect on what I'm doing? What am I doing at this moment that's affecting my game right now?
Yeah.
So just having those self-check questions to get you moving forward in a better path, for sure.
Yeah. Outside influences, like you were saying, obviously has like a huge impact as well. So Quinton, as a coach, when you notice that your players have obviously outside things that are affecting their play, right? They're playing with, they're down. They showed up and they were just not in it, and you can tell from the get-go, right? How do you approach outside influences and how it's affecting their game?
I mean, outside influences are always going to be there. So I guess as a coach, I try to advise, let the game be your escape from what you're doing. Let it be your reprieve. Let it be, however you like it to get out of it, whether it's, you go hide in your room, or you isolate yourself, or you go find your friends, or whatever is your solution to your struggles. Is let the game of what you're doing be what gets you out of it, right? So that is your escape from what's going on. For me, and some of the hard points in my life, I would go to the driving range, put my headphones in, and I'd hit golf balls, and I could get lost in the game that way. And that was my hour of reprieve, or however long we hit balls. And so just telling my players that, hey, it's not just suck it up and get out of it, because that's never the answer, but just get lost in what you're doing. Get lost in the work that you're trying to put in their competitive drive, and then go from there, and just use that as your way to kind of let what's outside going on, just try to get lost in what you're doing.
I think that's great advice for coaches. Some people aren't that in tune, and a lot of coaches are like, just suck it up and deal with it and get on,
or leave it at the door.
And that's hard to do. You have to figure out how to work with your team to be able to say, okay, use that and move forward and escape into the game. So
yeah, and teams are families. Team chemistry, whether you're playing an individual sport or a team sport, right? Golf, you still have a team. Everyone there is your family. Everyone there is to support you and wants you to be playing at your best. So lean on them, use them as an advantage. You know what I mean? You come in, like, obviously you have whatever's going on, And it's really hard as a coach, you know, you want to say just leave it at the door, but it's like, okay, I really like what you had to say, Quinton, about, you know, take it as an advantage now and just go as hard as you can and put whatever feelings you have about this into your game.
Yep, I think that's awesome.
Well, Quinton, I want to thank you very much for coming again. I think you had a lot of really good input, and I mean, you have so much experience to share. We would love to have you back on the show whenever you would like. We have many, many more shows to come, so more input. And next week, we are going to go over coachability, how to be coachable, what being coachable means. And thank you guys for watching. So
Thanks for having me on, and appreciate it, guys. It was fun.
Thanks. It's a mama's dream to have her kids do this with. Got to put that plug in there. But no, it's good. Hope everyone has a great week, and we look forward to next week. We'll be putting some questions in the comments so you can look at those and do your own self-check. And so keep strong and keep that good attitude, everyone. We'll see you next week.
bye.